trap.
Yes, and I would have said that Tommy Kendall was an unlikely visitor, normally an unlikely visitor to the gravel trap.
Yes. Ooh, lots of curb there for the Porsche. See how much drier it looks online, how much lighter it looks online. And also, as he headed towards our camera position here, how much lighter it looked outdoors. You're absolutely right. Dawn's roseate fingers are finally making their appearance. Service for Sebastian Buemi. Door open on the driver's side. Now, is that for drinky thingies? Or is Seb going to get out? No, I'm not sure that he is at the moment. We don't see any tyres out on the apron. We wouldn't necessarily have to. No, door shut. Swiss still inside. So Buemi stays in. 2 red lights, second in class. And the red lights mean that is the LMP1 class.
Following an Audi down pit road.
And that is Marc Genet, who is 4th in class. And they are followed in by the Jota car. So that has come in from, they are now 3rd. They are 3rd, yes, Lucas Luhr still 3rd in the LMP2 class. I'll tell you what, Sam Hignet's team, very small team from Kent, single car operation, really having a good time here. And Olivier Plas, 2nd in LMP2, also on pit road. So 2nd and 3rd place in the class on pit road. Platt goes out. That's him in front with a little red, purple, what's the word I'm looking for? Pink, thank you. Highlights on his Oak Morgan roll hoops. And out behind him, what's that? 15 seconds, maybe 20, let's say, tops. For Lucas Luhr, still 3rd in class as by whistles a P1 Audi. And whistle is the right word for them, isn't it? Not Wales or howls. Yeah. Have I mentioned car 97 recently? Because guess what, boys and girls? And guess where as well? It is the Stefan Mucker Aston Martin.
M4 up 42. So.
Yep. 42, first chicane. Is it raining there also? Drizzling. But our window has dried up again now. Very briefly, it was spitting and spotting, and now it ain't. And this camera shows no sign of spits and spots, as in comes the 2nd IMSA Matmut Porsche. Now, this is the sister car of our AM leader. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th place in class. Woo! Wolf Hensler stays in place as the camera gets shoved out of the way. And the AM class car of Stuart Hall, which is 2 cars in front of it and and only 40-odd seconds in front of it on the road. So this is not a direct battle for position. They're separated. Oh, no, they're not separated. This is a battle for position. Hensler was behind Hall's Aston coming in. Who comes out first? Stay left, 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 stay there, stay there. Porsche ahead of Aston. Position change in the pit road. The Porsche has gone in front. And Wolf Hensler in front of, in fact, it looks like Julien Canal in the number 50 Chevrolet Corvette has got between them. In fact, he has. There he is, right between them. Now, did we see a driver change? It's now saying that Roald Goethe is at the wheel of that Gulf Aston. Wet and very wet tyres being kept by Michelin. I think those are all wets. Darrell O'Young, you saw him there, currently lying 2nd in the GTE AM class.
Despite that spin when...
Despite me talking about him, yes. Thank you. I'm not going to live that down, and he's had such an unlucky season in World Touring Car Championship. I am starting to wonder.
So I think we'll have to have a chat with him over you.
Sam Bird has already tweeted earlier on, because of my unbelievable and long-running jinxing of him, that he will never come to Le Mans. Wisely so. Martin Brundle tweets, sensational job from Alex Brundle to pull the 24 Oak Nissan back into lead of LMP2 in very tough conditions. Very proud dad. Rightly so, Martin. Spot on.
While you're here, Martin, you set Neville and I a task yesterday morning.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And I just happened to have...
Are you a day late and a dollar short?
Well...
You're not quite, because it was in daylight hours yesterday morning.
Yes.
You've got 3 hours to get this answer out before you fall shy.
Well, I can do that courtesy of our old friend Quentin Spurring.
Go ahead.
Who writes, who's written a series of books, The Official History of Le Mans. And I just happened to have in the boot of my car the 1960 to 1969 version. And you asked us...
Well, this all started when I was tyre kicking in the historic paddock, and for the Legends race, and I saw this rather nice Austin Healey 3000, and because Jeremy Shaw, who I was with, is a bit of an Austin Healey owner, we went over to have a little mooch, and it had a board beside it with details about the car, when it was built, its heritage, who owned it, and so on, and all its race and rally entries.
This was DD 300, wasn't it?
And this was a 106, which is a one-off car with a 3-litre nose, and it was essentially a big Healey that was built as a race and rally recce car, was then driven by the chairman, by which I assume it's Donald Healey, as his personal car, and then was pressed into service in competition. Nice neat service for the 99 Aston. It is in second place in the GTE Pro class. And the thing that really caught my attention was the 1961 Le Mans entry. It said 1961 Le Mans, black flagged at start.
Yes.
Well, and no further details. I thought, what on earth could you have done other than maybe run over the president of the ACO's toes on the way out of the pit lane that would cause you to be black flagged at the start? And Chris is looking through the book because he has the answer. Well, but we may not get time to get to it before the next break.
Well, then, if we don't,
we'll leave it as a cliffhanger. Absolutely. So in a few moments we will reveal.
All will be revealed.
What are we now? 52 years later, why this 1961 Austin Healey was black flagged at the start. Not failed to start, not banned from starting, not thrown out after qualifying or scrutineering, but black flagged at the start. It sounds to me almost like one of those where a Formula One driver who hadn't qualified sneaked out onto the back of the grid in the hope that nobody would notice, and nobody did for about 7 laps, and then he got black flagged. No names, no pack drills. Tommy Kendall back in the... Oh, no, that's Ryan Diel in the 53 SRT Viper, because the 93 car, Tommy Kendall has brought it in, and Kuno Wittmer is now at the wheel of that, having just gone back out. In is the number 50 Pro-Am GTE Am Labra Competition Viper, which I cannot find. Yes, I can now. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in class. And the Viper heads off. These SRT guys desperate to try and make both these cars last the distance and run to the checkered flag on their first race at Le Mans. Welcome back to live coverage of Le Mans 2013 on Eurosport, where Loic Duval still leads in his Audi from the Toyotas of Sebastian Buemi and Alexander Wurz, who has just left the pit lane, which drops him down to 3rd place in class. In fact, he was 3rd place in class, ahead of Marc Genet's Audi. And just before the break, we recovered, or went back to the task I set Neville Hay and Chris Parsons yesterday morning in morning warm-up before the historic race, talking about an Austin Healey that was in the race, which was originally Donald Healey's private car, and then personal car, and was then used as a race car and rally recce car for the big Healeys. And what mystified me was that on its entry list of all the races and events it had done, 1961 Le Mans black flagged at start. That was the only line on it, no further explanation. And I was saying, what on earth could they have done that would cause them to be black flagged at the start? And Chris, you think you have the answer, and I think you probably do too.
Right. There were 2 Austin Healey 3000s in the 1961 race. And the second one was entered by Cambridge Racing, and it was a reserve, and it did no laps. So I guess they tried to get it to the start, and they were told, sorry, you're on the reserve list, you're black flagged, you can't start.
That sounds very likely.
Yeah.
So the other car is pictured in Quentin's book, but again, I'm afraid it didn't. It started the race, didn't finish, but it did do 254 laps.
Yeah, it did actually three Le Mans, that car, and it finished the last one, if I remember rightly, in about 11th place in 1962.
Yes.
Another interesting thing.
Don't tempt me to turn over the pages to the next year.
I won't tempt you, because you wouldn't find the answer for that in here. But talking of Healeys, I found out the other day that they actually made, I think it was 5600S Austin Healeys, of which there are 41 left.
Not a bad number.
Not a bad number, is it?
No, not a bad number.
Sorry, I was doing something else there. How many made, of which there how many left?
41 out of 56.
I thought I'd misheard you the other way. There were 41 made, of which there are 56 left.
No, that was Jaguar.
That's much more likely to be the case.
Certain other cars. And who knows how many Porsche 962s there are.
Yes.
There were a lot of plastic ones in the end, weren't there?
There were a lot of plastic ones. I mean, it is one of the most hilariously funny things that if you can ever get involved in. Because, of course, one of the things that does happen, and there's no question about this, that the identification of old cars is spoiled by the fact that in those long past days when one was going from one country to another, one had to have what was known as a carnet. And on the carnet, the numbers had to match. So certain cars were made with plates with their number on, and they could be swapped between one car and another, so that the name and the number on your carnet was exactly the same as the particular 250F Maserati you had out that day. Very
yes,
cool.
There were a lot of fun and games in those days.
A lot of fun and games. It wasn't funny, actually, having had quite a lot of equipment to come in and out of various countries. You could find yourself held up in customs for 1, 2, 3 hours while they messed around looking for the plate and the number on something or other and checking everything meticulously.
Oh, I remember when cars used to go in and out of Spain. It used to take days.
Well, this was one of the problems, and I do recall once being forced to miss a ferry by some officious gentleman, and the same gentleman was there when I came back, but this time he got properly scolded and sent into the corner. But it wasn't fun.
Well, change of driver here with Olivier Beretta strapping in Kamui Kobayashi into where are they? I'm losing count now. GT Pro Class, let's have a quick look at that, since this is one of those. Richard Leeds leads in the Porsche, so he's only just taken that over. Bruno Senna second in the 99 Aston Martin, Stefan Mucker third. in the 97 Aston Martin. 4th, Patrick Pilet in the Porsche, who's just left the pit lane. 5th, Giancarlo Fisichella in the 51 Ferrari, who's just left the pit lane. And 6th in the class, the 71 Ferrari, which Olivier Beretta has just handed over to... Change, please, change. I'm afraid I didn't recognise the helmet. I'm not sure if that was Kamui Kobayashi or Tony Vilander. Tony Vilander it was. I should have recognised it wasn't Kobayashi's helmet, but I'm afraid I don't pay an awful lot of attention to Formula 1, so I didn't. So anyway, lots of very close battles going on in the GTE Pro class, and we've only just got over 9.25 or under 9.25 hours to sort it out. So it's a little more than, you know, a 1,500 kilometre race.
Maybe 5 Grand Prix?
Yeah.
5 or 6 anyway.
Well, the 1,000 kilometres is sort of getting on for a 6-hour race, isn't it? So we've got a 1,000 kilometre race and a 500 kilometre race.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot still to go. Or 2 hours 45, an American Le Mans race. There's quite a few of those left in 9 hours, isn't there? Most of a season, in fact. Half a season at least.
There's still a sort of a sheen on the road, isn't there?
Yes.
You just look at it and think, well, I don't know whether that's completely dry. And indeed, it isn't right up against the pit wall there. You can see there is a line.
There's not much of a breeze. It's fairly still. There's a lot of cloud cover. It's been fairly humid all week, so it's not going to dry that fast.
And as you can see from those spectators, it's
they're not going to dry out in a hurry
either.
It's really quite chilly out. There's no question about that. When I came into the box a few hours ago now, it was really cold. In fact, I brought the thicker of my anoraks that I had put on when I went back again.
Yes.
I bet his legs are cold, sitting there, waving in the breeze.
Listen, made a little point earlier. I was saying Mikkel Krum was really looking forward to taking Lucas Ordonez to Japan to a searing hot Suzuka and sticking him in a GT300 car and seeing how he got on in 40-degree heat. Of course, that's 40 degrees outside.
Yes.
So substantially hotter inside.
Yes.
And on Twitter, Anthony Thomas saying, are you saying FIA GT3 cars are cooler inside than the GT300 cars? I'm saying absolutely they are here at Le Mans. GTE cars, Pro and Am class, must be cooler. They have a maximum cockpit temperature, which is monitored by the ACO and enforced by drive-throughs, so they have air conditioning. Slightly more cogent point there is, of course, that Lucas Ordonez drives open prototypes, so any kind of closed car is going to be considerably hotter than what he is used to. But Michael Krum was just basically looking forward to him wilting and flaking and feeling rather second-hand after the end of it. 51, the better of... Oh, 61, I beg your pardon, I can't read properly. I must give these eyes back to the dog. 61 in 3rd place in the GT Pro class. Matt Griffin at the wheel of that car stays in, chasing Darrell O'Young. 13 seconds between them as he came down pit road, so there's a good battle on for 2nd place behind Raymond Narak's Porsche, which leads in the GTE Am class.
It has been rather curious this year that Le Mans, having come a good deal later than it often is, we've had such, shall we say, spiteful weather.
Well,
so cold.
It's a week later.
Yeah.
And apparently last weekend the weather was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, you know, when do you not go on holiday and say, oh, you should have been here last week? Thank you. Of course, if we had been here last week, not only would we have had gorgeous weather, but on Thursday I'd have been at Bruce Springsteen instead of here watching qualifying. Tough call to make.
It's very tough. Yeah.
Because I booked my Springsteen tickets long before the ACO decided they'd slide the race another week further back into the month. Wretches. However, there we go. Out comes Matt Griffin then, and out behind him comes the number 70 Corvette. And I'm going temporarily screen blind. I can't see that on my Am
What,
class.
number 70 Corvette? Well, it's a very long way back.
Which means I'm going to have to flick a
You're
screen.
going to have to flick a switch.
I am going to have to flick a screen.
Yeah, this is the car that had a big problem. It had a fire. It had all sorts of strange things. It went off into the kitty litter. You name it, it happened.
And it is currently the last running car in 49th place.
There you are.
Talking of fire at Neville, Loic Duval's on fire as well. his last lap was a 29.9.
Yeah.
I think the one before that was 26. So he's really stepping on it, and he's going away from the Toyotas again.
Yeah, I wonder whether or not it is known, it has happened, that the Audis sometimes perform a major service, don't they, at around about, I don't know, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, where they check everything out and have a go again.
Only as strictly necessary. I mean,
only as strictly necessary.
Everything has been constantly checked by. In fact, I was talking to one of the teams about telemetry and radios, because I mean, habitually radios were always a bit of a curse. You'd sort of lose people at the first chicane and get them back at the Porsche curves, and in between there was lots of static. And I was saying, you know, do you get the telemetry all in one burst as he comes past the line, or is it actually a continuous flow? He said, no, pretty much a continuous flow. You lose them for a few seconds around Mulsanne, because that's the furthest point from the pits. But other than that, radios generally good all the way around, and telemetry now real time all the way around. So they can tell a driver instantly if they see a tyre warning light come on, or an oil warning light or something come on their bank of data monitors. They can warn him instantly, probably long before he knows that something's going wrong.
The HRG, and there's supposed to be one running, actually in a historic race.
Yep.
They were the first team to try radio here at Le Mans, and one of the drivers, incidentally, was a man called Robin Richards, who was a well-known BBC commentator with an outside sense of humour that made him one of the most fantastic people to work with. You'd never stop laughing if you worked with Robin Richards. He was a very funny man.
Raymond Narak in for service. This is the leader in GTE AM, although there do seem to be rather more than one light illuminate on the side of his car, which means, have Darrell Young and Matt Griffin gone by him as Narak stopped? Has he lost the lead and dropped to third in class? All will be revealed after this break. Welcome back to Le Mans, on board with the number 73 Corvette in the GTE Pro class. This car driven now by Jordan Taylor, one of two sons of Wayne Taylor. Ricky, his brother, is also racing here. Ricky Taylor in the number 50 Labra competition Corvette. Jordan in one of the factory cars he shares with Antonio Garcia and Jan Magnussen. So in amongst the established hot shoes at Corvette. And this car is currently, let's see if we can work this out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th in the GTE Pro class. Teammate Oliver Gavin in the 74 is 7th in the GTE Pro class.
We said, actually, Martin, that it's been odd this year. The Corvettes have not been as competitive as they very often are. They make just the same noises, but for some reason or other, they just don't seem to be quite on par.
Well, one of the things that they discovered after practice and qualifying is that they clearly did not know enough about the new compound Michelin tyre which is being used for this year. Now, all the other teams had these tyres available for pre-Le Mans testing in the Spa 6 Hours. So all the European teams that raced in the World Endurance Championship came to the Spa 6 Hours. Michelin brought the new tyres that were going to be used at Le Mans. And Chevrolet discovered them in the test weekend, which was wet, and then in free practice and qualifying, which was partially wet, partially nasty, and frequently red flagged. So they found themselves struggling, despite the computer simulations they might have had tied in with the Michelin data, to actually correlate what they should have got and what they were getting, and then what that meant, and then to set up the car for a tyre which they'd never actually physically had on the car before. So they feel that they're 6 hours and a lot of development work behind their rivals in the GTE class, and that is the Jota car. Third in the LMP2 class, Lucas Luhr has gone off on, I'm going to say, the exit of Indianapolis, the slow left, and has gone around the gravel and found terra firma and rejoins, and I'm hoping that is a-okay. That's not Indianapolis.
That's
then.
So, coming down to Tetra Rouge.
Yeah, so that's the end of the S's.
He's got a problem, hasn't he, of some sort or other?
It looks to me that it's a little bit down on
It's limping.
Yeah. Has he got a puncture?
Lucas Luhr is not in the habit of tubbing cars into the gravel.
I should say,
judging by the speed he's going,
his offside rear tyre.
No, it's front. I think it's front.
Well,
I think
we'll have
the
a look.
front was down.
Look, have a look as he goes round to the right there.
well,
definitely the
something
right
ain't what it
seems
used
to be down.
Is it?
Yeah.
Something
oh dear,
right.
I think he's got a bit of a left side deflation, hasn't he?
I think it's all too much for him. Well, in fact, all too much for all three of them, as far as I can
Well, why not? I mean, and actually somebody asked on Twitter earlier on, when do the mechanics change their shift? I beg your pardon? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. How very no. No, they arrive at 6 o'clock on race morning on Saturday, and they go home, if they're lucky, at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So it's a proper 36-hour race. And, of course, when that starts, you would have hoped that you didn't spend all of Friday rebuilding a car that was wrecked on Thursday, as quite a number of teams have. Quite a number of teams will have done an all-nighter Thursday, worked all Friday, or done work all Friday, pull an all-nighter Friday night in preparation for a 36-hour day on Saturday. So they snooze between pit stops, and they hope that when they wave the car away, it jolly well does not come back in 2 more laps.
Well, that's the way it used to be in Formula One now. I mean, you can't work too much overtime, too much.
Well, Nev, Formula One, it may have escaped you, although their races do seem like they go on all day and all night. Don't go on all day and all night. There is no need to sleep in the middle of a Formula One race.
No.
And you're not allowed to pull an all-nighter.
That's what
they close the pits.
That's what I'm saying. They do all this.
Indeed.
The other thing, of course, is that it's a very different ball game now to that which it was going back years ago.
What is football?
No, if you actually have a problem with the engine, you don't repair it, you change it.
Oh, no, if you have a problem with the
can't do that in Formula One now.
No, indeed. Or here, if you have a problem with the
penalised.
engine, you pack up and go home.
Yeah.
That's one of the few things you can't change. If you have a problem with the engine, you go home. And again, the drinks bottle and the screen wash bottle being changed.
So, still lapping in the 330s.
Car 3 straight on at Marshall's post 61. That's the second chicane, as we see the number 1 car leaving successfully. No
that is Marc
there.
Genet in number 3.
Yes. Chasing Alexander Wurz for 3rd place. So the recovering delayed number 3 Audi. And I'm going to say Ollie Turvey. I don't mean that, do I?
No.
No, I don't. I mean, Ollie Jarvis, too many Ollies. See, 1 is enough, 2, 1 too many. No disrespect to either, because they're both doing a good job. Ollie Jarvis doing a really good job in that number 3 car during the night, and handing it over at dawn's first light to Marc Genet. Genet just going straight on, and that happens occasionally. And again, entirely likely to have been in traffic, just finding the gap he was going for meandered into and having to straight line the chicane. That's why they have a runoff area, or the road, as it's normally called in the other 51 weeks of the year. because as you sit here, passing the restaurants on your left, this is the Route Nationale. This is the road from Le Mans to Tours. And these bits here don't get used for 51 weeks. This bit here gets used all 52.
By lorries that cut grooves in it when it gets very hot.
Well, they do, and as in any road, in fact, on even on any motorway, yeah, the trucks are all of a certain axle width and obviously a fairly prodigious weight, and they compress the tarmac into fairly noticeable channels. So what happens when it rains? Of course, those fill up with water. Whoa! And that's another one off. And is that
same place?
Not the same car.
No,
it's the KCMG car, fairly predictably, but yes, same place. Is it slippery there? Is it drizzling there? Leaders in.
Yeah, number 2 car.
Just under 9 hours to go. There's still an enormous amount of running still to be done.
Change the bottles.
Drinks fine. I can't be bothered to find that. One of them is a drink and the other one isn't, and we know that, and they know that, and they know which is which, and we don't have to. But
they are the drinks bottles are a special design, which is done by Progressive Motorsport at Banbury.
I know. And if I could be bothered to look back for the tweet, I could tell you that the blue one is one and the silver one is the other, but I can't.
So there.
So there. In fact, we talking to the doctor who puts all their drinks together. It's mainly sugar. So sugar and water. Yeah, mainly. Not exclusively. I mean, it is much more sophisticated than that, but yeah, mainly sugar and water. So the Audi leads still. Number 2 Audi from the 2 Toyotas, second and third, a lap back. A lap behind them, the number 3 Audi, and then 7 and 10 laps back, the 2 Rebellion Lola coupes with their Toyota engines. And on the same lap as the 12 is the 21 car, the remaining car, or the Straka car rather, and ahead of the remaining Audi, which is a further lap back from them. And in fact, the battle between Neil Yarney and Johnny Kane is under a minute for 7th place.
How times change now. I was thinking when you were talking about that in the days of Aston Martin and John Wyer, the wives did the food.
Well, now the wives get to eat most of the food.
Yes.
The wives are fed pasta and chicken and pasta.
Yeah.
GT Pro leader, still Richard Lietz's Porsche from the Aston Martins of currently Bruno Senna and Stefan Mucker. Porsche Patrick Pilet in 4th. Giancarlo Fisichella and Tony Vilander in, of course, the Ferraris 5th and 6th. And in the AM class, Raymond Narak's Porsche still out front. A lot of Porsches going on there. Head of the Ferraris of Darrell Young and Matt Griffin. So despite what his indicator light said on the side of his car as he left the pit lane, seems that Raymond Narak is still in front of Darrell Young and Matt Griffin, who are 55 seconds apart, but not on the same lap as the leader. And I will go to my little map.
Yeah.
And see if I can find out how far apart they were. They were about a chicane. Well, Darrell Young is currently in the Porsche curves, and coming down to Arnage is the 76 car of Raymond Narak. And I can tell you that because it's a fact.
There's the Jota Sport car, finally made it back to the pits.
So they will fuel it first rather than paying attention to anything else, because of course when they've paid attention to anything else it will still need fuel. So fuel goes in first, then car goes into garage, little trolley dolly wheels, spin it round, and again failing to knock over their own teammates, so it still can be done, and into the garage it goes. Why does it go into the garage? Because you're only ever allowed 2 people working on a car on the pit road, and the reason is to stop pit road becoming insanely crowded with people and legs and bodies sticking out into the pits, into the pit road rather.
Right, I'm going to say goodbye to you 2 gentlemen.
Bye.
I'm off for a cup of coffee. And I'm going to leave you with Martin and Neville and Liz Halliday.
I think actually I'm going to go as well and leave you with Liz Halliday, who is far better looking than any of us in here. And we might leave Cole here, but perhaps we'll take him.
Oh dear. The KCMG car, DKR car again finds the gravel trap. And again, it is Monsieur Brondillard who is testing everybody's patience. So we bid goodbye and say thank you very much indeed to our night shift graveyard crew, Neville Hay and Chris Parsons. We'll see them a little bit later, and as we take a quick commercial break, it is still the number 2 Audi that leads this race. Sprinkle of rain, never too far away, but at the moment safety car free for almost the whole of the last hour as we continue our live coverage of Le Mans here on Eurosport. Welcome back to Le Mans, 24 hours of Le Mans 2013. Perm those to make a proper sentence. We are inside the final 9 hours. We've broken the back of this thing. Now we're on the home stretch. There's just about 9 hours. What's that? 5 Grand Prix still left to work our way through, and we have still nearly 50 cars of our original 56 starters still running. Good morning, everybody, wherever you're joining us at Dark 100. 6 o'clock here in the Circuit de la Sarthe, 4 GMT. I have no idea what time of day it is wherever you are, but thank you for being with us. Martin Haven, Liz Halliday and Mark Cole. And so far, as dawn rises, we've spent the last hour or so without drizzle, without safety cars. And that might be something of a record as far as hours go in this year's Le Mans, because we've already had a record 8 safety cars and we've still got 9 hours to go. It could do anything because, Liz, the weather has not been anybody's friend really this weekend.
Well, no, and we got up in the morning to see that, yes, it's been raining again. Not that we've had a huge sleep, about 2 hours, Mark Cole and I have, but noticed it'd been raining and we're thinking, oh gosh, what are we going to come back to? But I'm amazed there's not been any safety cars. I don't remember the last time through the middle of the night we haven't had any major accidents or anything.
We just haven't had any in the last hour, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, I see. I thought you were saying there hadn't been any. I was going, wow, that's amazing.
A whole hour trouble-free.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. But we left you on 5 safety cars last night, Martin. As you say, 3 more during the night.
I see. That makes more sense. I was very confused. I was thinking, wow,
Martin, I understand another barrier punching exercise.
Yep. Yeah, I'm afraid so. Yeah, I have to say, actually, you know, we always say hats off to the marshals, all the officials and the corner workers, especially the unpaid marshals who come and volunteer for free just for the fun of being trackside at Le Mans. Scrunch that paper more noisily, Mark. But the guys that are repairing the barriers, boy, they're going to be exhausted because they are cutting and hammering and heaving and banging and everything into position. They're going to be absolutely Christmas crackered. Michael Krum handing over to Jan Mardenborough, the 41 Greaves Motorsport Nissan. And they are, I can't see that screen. I'm going to have to swap my lovely movie picture screen for a page 1 of the timing screen. They are third still in the LMP2 class. Olivier Plaz, Morgan Nissan leading it. And Bertrand Baguette, Bertie Breadstick, has now taken over from Martin Plowman in the car that is in second place.
So give us a little review, Martin. Let's just remind people that are just waking up, and me and Mark, what's happened through the night, what the drama is.
That's a very fine idea. Well, the race started, of course, with Audi 1-2-3 Toyota Toyotas giving chase. And in the early mixed conditions, Toyota had a better suited tyre to the slippery conditions and drizzle at the start, closed on the Audis. And then as conditions dried out a little, Audi started to pace away and left Toyota trailing a little in their wake, in contact, but not necessarily in the hunt, because Toyota had not quite as much speed as the Audis, although they have a fuel advantage. A couple of problems for the number 1 Audi, a crankshaft sensor for the number 3 Audi, also dropping a couple of laps off the lead, left the Toyotas first and second behind leader Loic Duval. At least he's now leading in the number 2 car. And that sole healthy Audi has stayed in front of the Toyotas, who have swapped positions with each other, but have not yet been able to get back onto the lead lap. In fact, we saw Loic Duval putting a lap on both of them during the night. From a 50-second advantage, he's now over a lap clear. So the Audi is stroking away in front. In all the other classes, actually everything we thought we knew pretty much after qualifying has turned out not to be quite as true as we thought. For example, we were thinking in the GTE Pro class we're going to have a battle between the fastest cars, the Aston Martins, and last year's winners, maybe the Ferraris. But no, it's the Porsches now that are first and fourth, with Aston Martin sandwiched between them. Porsche has just been relentlessly quick in the race in a way that it didn't seem to be in practice. In the LMP2 class, well, it was per many one of at least 10 cars for a potential winner, 15 for a potential podium finisher. It seems to be British-driven and crewed cars that are going very well. The Oak Racing Morgan number 24 car, which Alex Brundle's just handed over to pole sitter Olivier Pla, has the lead. Bertrand Baguette has taken over from Martin Plowman in his Morgan Nissan, that's in second place, and Jan Mardenborough, another British driver, has taken over a Greaves Motorsport British team Zytec, British chassis, in third place. And that has pushed John Martin in the Irish run Murphy's prototype down to fourth, and they're still too close to call in the LMP2 class. Positions have been changing with pit stops in that class, in GTE Pro, and in GTE Am, where again a Porsche has inveigled its way into the lead, and Raymond Norak in the IMSA Matmut car does not look very much inclined to give back the lap that he's won over the Ferrari battle for seconds. Darrell O'Young currently ahead of Matt Griffin by a growing margin. It's now out to a minute. It was around 40 seconds when they both pitted on the same lap last time round. Fourth in that class, Patrick Long in the 77 Dempsey Del Piero Porsche. The real loser in the AM class was the 88 Proton Porsche Paolo Roberti that was tripped up by a very errant and mimsing Romain Brondela, who basically took him out of the race.
That was an amazing rundown. I was actually asking what happened over the night when we've been away, but that was awesome. That was like 9 hours. No, I meant I know there's been some accidents. The safety car has been out of the mix, and a lot of people have been to bed. You know?
Safety cars. Safety car just about to come in started raining again, so they kept the safety car out so everybody could change onto wet weather tyres because it rained rather than just drizzled a little bit. And then safety car went in, and then one more brief safety car period. Many yellow flags to allow cars to be dragged out of gravel traps that didn't require a safety car, but yeah, it's
so who's been out? Who's had a bad time?
Shorter list is who hasn't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Loic Duval in the number 2 Audi. No, seriously, number 3 Audi's been off. One of the Toyotas has been off. Half a dozen of the LMP2 cars have been off.
Tricky conditions.
Several of the front runners. Yeah, I mean, you can see now from the overhead shot there is a light grey line. Oh, and here's the Jota car that was third in class. I was wondering where that had got to. That's been in the garage for several laps now. Lucas Luhr brought it in after an off in the S's and limped all the way round, and it looks as though it was not a driver-induced off either.
Yeah, that looks like perhaps there's been a suspension issue or something in there. That's what it looks like to me at the moment, but without being down there, it's very hard to say. But
interestingly, we left at midnight, and I left a list of who was out front, and it hasn't actually changed hugely. It's still the number 2 Audis, you say, from the 2 Toyotas. The only real change of note is in the GT Pro class. I understand the Ayrton Senna, Bruno Senna car had to come in for some brake attention, Martin, and that's why it lost that lead to the Porsche. But otherwise, that's been rocking and rolling, hasn't it? The 2 Astons and the Porsche. Great to see Raymond.
puncture for the 75 Porsche.
Great to see Raymond Narak up there, though. Of course, he won GT2 as it was in 2007. That was a famous victory. That car, which is from Rouen, has always been supported, hasn't it, by the by Porsche France and by the factories. They've always had a lot of assistance, and great to see Jean-Carl Vernet on board. He's a rookie. You can't believe it. He was the reigning Porsche Cup champion in France last year, and he was a Peugeot test driver, but he has never ever raced at Le Mans before. Astonishing.
Well, the number 75 car there is Emmanuel Collard behind the wheel. That is the car that took over the Garage 56, which was meant to be for improving technologies. It was meant to be the green GT car that was meant to come. That fell out at the last minute. Luckily, they got the slot, so hopefully they're going to get that car back out on the road very quickly.
P2 leader on pit road, Olivier Plat. One blue light on the side of the car means he is position 1 in the blue light class, which is for LMP2 cars, non-factory developed prototype cars, essentially customer cars rather than run by a factory like Toyota or Audi.
Car 42, that's Jan Mardenborough again in the Greaves Motorsport car, straight on at the second chicane.
Yep.
Jan's been having a baptism of fire here. Last night he had a flying lesson, and would have done credit to the airfield next door. He took off over the curbs, didn't he, Liz?
Yeah, fantastic filming of that, wasn't it? Wow. We looked at it and thought, are those all 4 wheels off the ground? Wow, it was quite high up in the air. But I think in this occasion, when I was just watching the filming of him coming down the S's, I was thinking, there's a dry line, but it definitely isn't dry it's just off the line. And my guess would be that he's just put one tyre off in the damp on you know, new slicks, and see you later.
And of course, when you're in a prototype, half the time what are you doing? Going offline to go around a GT car, and therein lie beasties. You're absolutely right.
And my guess would be he's probably just had to brake while passing another car, been on a bit of the damp, and has gone straight on. But hopefully there's been no foul. My goodness, we have a big fire.
Yes, we do.
In pit lane.
Now, quite often these cars blow back through the exhaust unburnt fuel when they are started back up again. That looks a little bit more dramatic for level 5 motorsport. It's what it was. It's fuel coming back out of the exhaust, but it was just quite dramatic, yeah. Do you know what? The tyre fixer on didn't want to hang around there too long just in case it all went woof again, did he? Yeah. Driver hanging on in there, though, fairly does. He's being a brave boy.
Oh, it's going again.
Well, that's probably because he's trying to fire it up. Marino Franchitti trying to keep the engine running. Of course, you know, with all this drive-by-wire throttle and the engine ECU controlling everything, the driver may not have an awful lot to say about what's going on. Best just to floor in and get going.
Jesus.
And again, he does.
Oh my goodness, and it's not nice being in one of these cars when there's flames flying up behind your head. It really isn't a nice feeling.
Well, Marino Franchitti not short on bravery, hanging on in there. Very easy, I would think, to bail out, but he think, no, I've got to get this thing off pit road and then it'll all be fine. I'm
quite sure that the team was probably telling him on the radio, trust us, Marino, it's going to be okay, just get it going, get it going.
Either that or running for cover. Somewhere between those two.
Somewhere between it, but it does appear to be all right now that we're up and running.
Well, again, it may well just have been churning on the starter that was throwing the fuel back because it wasn't catching. Of course, you know, with a turbocharged engine, the exhausts aren't exactly what you'd call cool.
No, definitely not. And Marino Franchitti, they enjoyed a fantastic Sebring 12 hours, a win for that team at that very, very difficult race. Many people say that doing the 12 hours of Sebring is like doing a 24-hour race, certainly for the car components and the drivers, because it is a real hammering there. So very good.
Half as long, but twice as hard. That's what they like to say in Sebring.
The track's starting to come back to the races now, Liz. Patrick Pilet has just done the 91 Porsche's fastest first sector, and he's on a flyer at the moment. So after the overnight rain, it's all starting to come back to them, isn't it?
Yeah, and spot the ones that are in GT cars. They'll be finding these conditions easier to be a little bit quicker in, because they won't be doing quite as much passing. And there is that helmet we've been talking about. Fantastic. It really does look like goggles on there.
Really does, doesn't it?
Some of you have tweeted us the pictures earlier on in the race. Thank you, and I have retweeted those.
IndyCar driver Mike Conway going the whole hog with his helmet at the old-fashioned look for his first ever Le Mans.
And incidentally, I believe that helmet designer is the same who does Lewis Lewis Hamilton's helmet, I understand.
Okay, well,
So clearly he knows what he's doing.
I have to say he clearly does.
Is that Lewis, I can't drive any slower, Hamilton? That one?
Yeah, it might be that one, yeah.
Incidentally, in that 33 level 5 motorsport car, it wasn't Marino Franchitti who was being patient, it was owner Scott Tucker who was sitting there desperately hoping he wasn't going to get fried. Did lose a couple of places, dropped behind Lucas Luhr's car, and Natasha Gachnang also got by. The 35 car still on pit road. This is currently in 4th place in its class. Over the lead. Welcome back, Martin Haven, Liz Halliday and Mark Cole covering Le Mans 24 hours for you as we get into the daylight hours. And we just saw Olivier Plat, the leader of the LMP2 class, make a pit stop. Bertrand Baguette in 2nd place, making a pit stop as well, taking his car over. Mike Conway taking over the car that lies 5th in the LMP2 category as the sole remaining Lotus doesn't leave the pits at the moment. This is David Kreiheimer, and the car has now lost 5 places on track because it was in the middle of a tight bunch of LMP2 cars and is dropping fast, and it is on the trolley dolly wheels and going back into the garage. Car 40 being reported to the stewards for speeding in the pit lane. That's the Boussin-Gignon car. And that was, well, Rodin Younessi has taken it out, so it may have been him, or it may have been the driver who brought it in who was doing the speeding. I don't know if there was a driver change. We didn't see that stop long enough, I think, to tell.
A few of you have been tweeting in with some questions, and Paul Moore has asked, can you tell me who's the youngest winner of the 24 hours of Le Mans? Well, certainly, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, one of you two, but at least in the LMP2 class, I think it was my old co-driver Clint Field back a few years ago. I believe he won LMP2 at the age of 20, but I could be wrong, and there may be someone younger. I feel like maybe we've had someone younger, but Mark is feverishly looking through his book.
Outright winner, I'm not sure.
I thought maybe one of you would know. Outright winner, I don't know, but I think winning anything, I thought it was Clint Field.
Mark Patterson takes over from Karen Chandok in the Murphy's number 48 car. And where have they got to in class? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th in LMP2. Have to count down because we just have a screen with everybody in order. And so you have to sort of count down the class, because I'm not clever enough to subtract 19th from 9.
I don't think any of us are.
No,
and, speaking of the youngest winner, I think Mark Patterson is our oldest driver this year in this race, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he is.
That is correct.
And I hope that he's going to settle in and do a good job in these somewhat tricky conditions, because, as we just said, the offline is not dry. And we saw in practice he managed 3 spins in 1 lap, which was very impressive, especially that he didn't hit anything.
Well, we've now got to almost full daylight here at Le Mans without any early morning sun. The cloud have been so thick there's been no hint of the sun at all. It's 20 past 6. It's fairly bright and light outside. You don't need lights to see where you're going. They're just on because they have to be on so that other people can see that you're coming. But as you can see from on board with our number 1 Audi, the visibility very good. It is properly daylight, but you don't have that glare into sleepy eyes through a grimy screen that, Liz, just is such hard work.
No, it really is, and I think a lot of, especially the open top drivers, will be very, very pleased that they've not had that blinding sunshine coming through. The other thing we get at Le Mans sometimes early in the morning is fog, which it doesn't look like they've had. You can get a thick fog over the Porsche curves, which I must say is very exciting as you come piling over over into the first corner. We actually had Mike Sims asked, in fact, what is harder, driving at the dusk tonight, the night, or the night to dawn stage? Certainly in these conditions, this is much more favorable, because we really didn't have either coming in tonight or coming into dawn. We didn't have that glare, which Martin was talking about. That's what certainly I've always found most challenging, and I'm sure most drivers do, because you can't choose a visor. You're basically stuck with going with the visor for the conditions you'll be going into. So, you know, you're sort of struggling to see. Coming into the Porsche curves is a big glare portion of the circuit when the sun's coming up. That's really difficult. But I think at this Le Mans, in a way, everyone will be happy that it's been cloudy in both of those sectors.
Yeah, that might be the only silver lining to the generally cloudy weather, mightn't it? That it hasn't got that low morning sun glare or low evening sun glare, because, yeah, that is very distracting. The evening sun as well, particularly, always seems to me from the onboards down to where you'd least want to not quite know where you are, going into Indianapolis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're finding yourselves having to do extra tape on a clear visor to try and stop the glare, because you obviously can't go into the dark with a shaded visor on.
Yeah.
Though I've known drivers that have mistakenly done that.
Yeah,
not so
prefer
good.
not to, really.
Right, you ready to come back to me on the youngest driver?
Yes, I am, Mark.
He's running in third place at the moment for Toyota. Alex Wirtz, 22 years old when he won for Just Porsche in 1996, and he went on to win again overall.
On his first appearance.
Yep.
Yep, he should have quit then.
Yep, and just out of interest, the driver with the most Le Mans behind him this year is Christophe Bouchou, 20 appearances.
Oh, my
and he also won on his first ever appearance, 1993 for Peugeot.
Wow, so he did.
And
That's pretty cool.
And hasn't won again since. Alex Wirtz has, of course.
Yes, he has indeed.
Right. Wow.
There we are. We would have got it on the internet, but I'm afraid throughout most of this race, the internet's been down, so I've been scrabbling through books. Luckily, I had the right books with me, and there we
fantastic. Well done, Mark. That didn't take you long at all.
Well, we're looking there at the art car in the Oak Racing garage, and we're not the only ones looking at it. Men with laptops, men with things, men pointing.
I can't make it rhyme. Men with laptops, men with things.
It's poetry. Poetry doesn't have to rhyme. It has to get you to the heart.
It has to scan.
At the
It has
heart,
to scan.
No, it doesn't have to scan either. It has to get you by the heart.
Oh, yes.
And this car has been almost nothing but trouble. It is currently lying 44th out of 49 cars that are running.
Well, they're changing steering wheel and some road signs while they're there. So.
Oh, dear.
Oh, here's one of the crowd's favourites. Aren't they wonderful? The SRT Vipers. Not Dodge Vipers, SRT Vipers, and they're very clear about that.
Kuno Wittmer is the driver at the wheel of the car. Rookie, making his first appearance here, and a man I'm very glad to say is a proper height.
Doesn't that colour scheme work? It's great.
No, it is fantastic, and it's so nice to see them back here. SRT, of course, standing for Street Race and Technology, which I think I've gotten right.
Yeah,
and,
sounds right.
Brilliant to have them back here. It's been over 10 years since Viper has been back. Of course, they won here in 2000. One of their drivers, Tommy Kendall, has not been back to Le Mans since 2000. That year he was in a Porsche, but he said it feels like it's his first Le Mans again, because he's coming with a team that he's been racing with already, and it's been a great feeling for all of them.
Yeah.
A lot of camaraderie in that garage. They are all really proud to be here and really happy to have Viper back on a page here at Le Mans.
And this is the third generation of Vipers, interestingly enough, to race here. But what a great history here. And just socket to Corvette, that's what the crowd want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's been interesting, because asking them all what it's like, they've all said the car is really easy to drive. It's good in the wet. It feels fantastic. You know, all good things. I think it's just been a little bit too slow in places.
Mulsanne corner.
Now, those who have been watching since the darkness will recognise the car and the name. Roman Brondela off again, this time at Mulsanne corner. He's the one that took Paolo Roberti out of the race. In fact, Paolo Roberti has been so delayed in the 88 Proton Engineering Porsche that they are only, well, 18 laps ahead of Roman Brondela.
Should he not be getting some sort of warning from the organisers if he's been taking people out and firing it off every other lap?
He should be getting some sort of kicking from the organisers, which is probably why he's still in the car. The art car is going back together. No, the organisers have said they would investigate the incident between the 39 and the 88. Essentially, Brondela went off, meandered down in the dark, meandered down the S's, and as cars came up behind him, moved from one side of the road to the other.
Oh, that's always a great idea, yeah.
Paolo Roberti running straight into the gap that no longer existed. He at that stage was 4th in the LMP, in the GTE AM class, and the guy that was 2nd, Darrell O'Young, having to throw his car across the grass at the left in the S's in a vain hope of missing everything, which in fact happened, and he came to a halt on the tarmac, inches from going into the gravel trap at the bottom of the S's, and then spending 3 laps being dragged out of there because Paolo Roberti was closer to the crane, and so Darrell O'Young would again have dropped right out of contention. So yeah, Romain Brondela hasn't covered himself in glory so far. His time may be yet to come. I doubt it, though.